Greetings from the Guild, gamers. I'm Guildmaster Jason. Welcome to Tabletalk Tuesday. The topic of today's Tabletalk Tuesday is house rules. So, in this video, we're going to talk about how to craft house rules, how to present house rules, and how to follow house rules. First of all, when creating a house rule, definitely consider balance. For example, let's say you have a house rule about what happens when your players attempt to contact their deity. Take a look at the level 5 cleric spell, Commune. It sets some really specific parameters of a player talking with their deity. Not only does the spell come with several limitations, it also forces the player to burn up a 5th level spell slot. If you're creating a house rule that lets any player commune with their deity, just be sure that you're not taking anything away from the fact that that's supposed to be something special for the cleric. It shouldn't be something easy to accomplish to get a clear answer from your deity, considering that a cleric has to burn a 5th level spell slot and still has all these limitations. It wouldn't really be fair for a level 1 barbarian to be able to pray to his storm god and get a weather forecast for the next 5 days. Consider other spells or abilities that are available to specific characters, classes, or backgrounds, and make sure you're not taking away from those abilities. So that's the only guidelines I really have on crafting house rules. Now let's talk about presenting house rules. I absolutely cannot say this enough. House rules need to be addressed at session 0. For example, we'll use the I Know a Guy house rule posted to the Plant City Gamers Guild group page by a friend of the guild, Jeanette Mack. The I Know a Guy house rule basically works as follows. At any given point when it's proposed to a party that they need someone who has some sort of specialty or some sort of skill, a player can pronounce, I know a guy. And instantly they have an NPC and their backstory who has access to whatever it is that the party is searching for right at this moment. However, when the player goes to meet with that person, they have to make a charisma check based on what kind of terms they left off with that person there. The purpose of this house rule is sort of to create that Han Solo, Lando Calrissian feel. Now, this house rule, like all house rules, just like I said, should be addressed at session 0. For those of you who don't know, session 0 is a session that you generally hold at the beginning of a campaign before the game is actually played at all, just so that the DM can give the players an idea of what to expect, and the players can give the DM an idea of what they would like to expect. This way, with these house rules, you specify how the rule works and to what extent it works right there beforehand so that there's not discrepancies about it later. This way it kind of creates a little bit of DM player transparency so the players don't feel like the DM is just making stuff up as he goes. So for the rule we use for an example, some things that you might specify beforehand, to what extent does the I Know a Guy rule work? And at what point does the DM say, okay, you know what, no. You do not know a guy for that. So that's really the best advice I can give on presenting house rules. Now let's talk about as a player coming to a table where you have house rules. For this example, I use a house rule that I first saw from friend of the guild, Eric Casas. When DMing Curse of Strahd, Eric explained to us that on critical hits, the way he would rule them is, say you're using a sword that does d6 damage. On a critical hit, you would automatically deal 6 damage plus d6, so 1 full max damage dice plus a rolled dice. Personally, I love that rule and I've instilled it in my games ever since. However, I can see how some people might find it a little bit overpowered. So here's what you do. Keep in mind, Dungeons & Dragons is generally a time when adults with busy and hectic lives put aside their responsibilities for a night and really enjoy themselves. No matter what, the absolute number 1 rule to D&D is don't get so bogged down with the rules or anything for that matter that you are no longer enjoying yourself or that you're ruining the enjoyment of other players. And even if a house rule doesn't really make sense to you, understand that maybe that's the way this gaming group has played for years. And finally, if there's just something about a game that you feel is absolutely game breaking that you feel needs to be brought up and you can't deal with, then maybe bring it up to the DM. But do so either before a session, after a session, or during a break. Do not interrupt the game time with arguing over rules. So, with that, we've covered crafting house rules, abiding by house rules, and presenting house rules. Be sure to comment us or shoot us a message and let us know what you think about this week's topic, and let us know if you have a good idea for next week's topic. Until then, game on, gamers.